Welcome to Red Carpet of Hollywood, Dominic Pace. How are you? I haven't seen you, didn't talk to you for like a year and a half, pandemic. And you took like this whole tour almost across America with the Star Wars. So let's start with the introduction. Dominic Pace played Gekko in Mandalorian in the third episode and the first one.
That's correct, yes.
So tell me about it. This was actually your dream come true.
Yes, it was a dream come true. I've been a lifelong fan. I think that the reason a lot of actors want to get involved in Hollywood that are my age are usually due to the influence of George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, Robert Zemeckis growing up, when we were kids in the 80s. It was an absolute dream come true. Obviously, when the pandemic hit, the entire industry shut down. So I found a way not only to continue on with my passion of the character, but also to help a lot of small businesses in our country right now that were deemed non-essential, specifically comic book stores. So what happened was during the pandemic, 3 times around the country. Now, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but to give you some numbers, Marina, we had a total of 50,000 miles over the past 2 years in travel between land and air. We visited over 40 different states, over 70 comic book stores. We were able to raise, instead of as an actor taking a percentage from the store, I gave 15% to the store of all my autograph sales.
Oh, that's
amazing. I was able to raise over $30,000 for the small businesses, over $10,000 for charity. We raised a little bit for my son's college. And Gekko sort of became this phenomenon to a certain extent, to where the Star Wars community sort of embraced. This is the only franchise to where sometimes the small side characters end up getting a lot of attention. And Gekko was designed by Brian Sipe, who's a legendary makeup artist in Hollywood. He put so much detail into the character, combined with my passion of the character. It became sort of a cult favorite there within the Star Wars community. We are hopeful we'll continue on with the show. But either way, we are hearing from Lucasfilm that there's potentially one licensed merchandise piece, which may come out a little bit later this year, which I'm really excited about. To finally have Gekko officially on a piece from Lucasfilm would just be a dream come true. So that's the next phase. But 2 years traveling over 50,000 miles. I took both my sons and I tried to help as many people as I could during the pandemic. And in return, it helped me as well, because, again, the industry was completely shut down there.
Yes. So now question, would you do this again?
By air. By air.
By air.
I was in Georgia, and after 60 days on the road, for the first time ever, that's why they test the astronauts in the small fuselages, I started getting vertigo because of so much driving, over 12,000 miles this past tour with 60 days. And all of a sudden, it started the stopping and starting, and then the meet and greets for 5 hours. I almost did one every single day. It started to take its toll on me.
Yes. Now your sons, this had incredible experience for them.
Absolutely. We incorporated pop culture. We incorporated American history.
This is really amazing. Now, can you tell us how did you end up, with the Gekko role?
Well, years and years of experience on all different levels. And one of the pieces that I have is experience with prosthetic makeup. It's not the greatest talent in the world, but they want somebody who's patient, somebody who's kind, somebody who has experience with film, because sometimes you're sitting in that makeup chair for over 2 hours. So because of the bald head, they made this character just a little bit more colorful, a little bit more detailed, because obviously they were able to work with this empty blank canvas here. So the beautiful thing with the fans is the more elaborate, the more unique, almost like Cirque du Soleil, the more it pops out to the fans. So Brian did just an amazing job. It was 2 hours of makeup work every single day. And again, it was attributed to a little bit of experience. I worked on Bright with Will Smith. I had prosthetics. I doubled Frankenstein and Van Helsing. Really? And then also I was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where I had 90 minutes of prosthetic work as well over a period of 2 weeks on that as well. So they picked up obviously from experience, but also at the same time, just the key to Hollywood is sometimes being in the right place at the right time.
Right. I know that's so great. Now, how long it takes? How long was your day in a costume?
Well, usually we ran about 16-hour days, and they were for 10 days. This was back in September and October of 2019. I had an NDA for an entire year, so I had to keep everything secret. But behind the scenes, I was working with illustrators, podcasts, interviews, press, to make sure that this character was known as much as I possibly can make him known without the studio being disappointed or without the studio's approval, just by promoting the character and also the good love and spirit and positivity of the Star Wars universe. So it all worked out really, really well. We obviously want to see a chapter 2 with Gekko. But either way, just I was managed of all things, because everything was locked down, to accomplish quite a bit over the past year and a half there. So very excited.
Amazing. So how did you come up with the idea? Let's get on the road.
Well, the thing was all the Comic-Cons were shut down. And I knew in Hollywood, you only have your 15 minutes of fame. It's very short-lived. And then when the next season comes out, then they're on to the next actor, the next celebrity, or the next character. So for me, even with the pandemic, I said, well, if all the Comic-Cons are shut down, I've got to figure out a way not only to generate income, but also at the same time to find out how I can help others. I had a couple of appearance agents, but they were not as aggressive as I always knew that I have been, and you know me, Marina, for many years, in terms of having that hustle, and that's how you survive in this town. That's how you survive in this country, by having that hustle deep within. So for me, it was just sort of created to where I had a few people reach out, and I reached out to a few people, and then all of a sudden, little by little, it was like connect the dots all throughout the country, because there was nothing to come home to. So I just stayed out on the road, and it ended up affording itself just by the profit, and also at the same time being able to help these stores stay open during the pandemic.
This is a really great idea. And I've seen a picture, I think was either on Instagram or Facebook, where there's the whole team of Star Wars in the store. So who are those people?
So these people are absolutely amazing, Marina. They are actually from all over the world, from Israel to South Africa to South America. They are 100% charitable. And believe it or not, it humbles me so much that thousands and thousands of people love this franchise so much that for no money at all, they show up at hospitals, they show up at charitable events to raise money for somebody who might be sick, and also for the actors, and also for small business, anything they can do. I cannot tell you how inspirational it is to be around these people. It is a group called the 501st Legion, and there are two other groups. One is called the Rebel Legion, and one is called the Mandalorian Mercs. 100% nonprofit. And they are just more than happy to just be there to support the actors, to support local causes. I am hoping so much that this merchandise piece goes through, because I want to be able to give back next year as well to help them for all their local causes.
Wow, this is really, so they just like in Comic-Con, they just showed up in costume to support.
That's it. And it was so beautiful, Marina, because let's call it what it is. I mean, literally, I was on screen for less than 1 minute. And they could not have been more than happy. It wasn't like I'm Pedro Pascal or Gino Carano or Carl Weathers, but they were so just enthusiastic to be there to support me, because they understood my passion for loving the fact that I was part of the franchise, and also what I was doing to try to help others during this time.
This is a really, really good. Are you guys stay in touch?
Oh, without question. Yeah. I mean, I have friends now. It's almost like a timeshare of friends all throughout the world. They made me an honorary member in all three organizations, and I'm forever grateful to them. I just hope that Lucasfilm will bless me with something extremely official with the character, so that I can forever be a true ambassador for the franchise there.
Great. Pandemic. It took up on so many people. And a year and a half was almost frozen. You took the risk, you got on the road. How was there any tough decision you had to make during the pandemic? How,
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. We were looking at the numbers. I was questioning whether I was being selfish or not. But at the same time, even during wartime, you think of Hollywood, what we are supposed to define, and that is to bring smiles to people's faces. So obviously we were paying attention in terms of the numbers of fatalities and the numbers of people who obviously got infected, but also recovered, 99%. And we also took precaution. everything for me personally, from vitamin D, elderberry, multivitamins, exercising every single day, and also at the same time respecting inside, having a limited contact. And also there would be certain stores that even would have me outside just for their own protection. So we were also very respectful of the pandemic. But at the same time, if there's anything that I think Hollywood can do, even during the darkest time, again, you go back to Bob Hope or Robin Williams, it's to make people happy. And it's to make people forget about sometimes their troubled life and the situation at hand right now. And what beautiful way to bring people together than something that a franchise that people love from all over the world. And it infuses so much positivity from every age, from 0 to 100. It was just such an honor to be an ambassador and to be a beacon of light, of positivity during this time in our country there.
The recent interview with Dr. Iman, who is a social media public figure, we can say, he just took off with positive messages. And we were talking about mental health. How important was mental health in this past year and a half?
Yes, absolutely. The most important thing is really, and that was that thing with my children, most importantly, because as grown-ups, we have been through so much turmoil and we get we get tough skin, we get scars to where we built stronger as we get older for the most part, most of us. But really, ultimately, it was really focusing on my young sons who are 16 and 12 in terms of constantly keeping them active. So the beautiful thing about the tour and the beautiful thing about the art of the character was constantly staying creative. Whether it's reading a book, exercising, but giving yourself daily goals, because otherwise that's where we start falling into depression, where we start questioning, what are we doing, or becoming too repetitive with our social media or, our daily routine, constantly changing it up. And what beautiful way to do that than through art and also creativity.
Yeah, it was a tough year, So now the boys, are they looking into acting also?
No. So the beautiful thing I always say, not to be candid here, but, I feel like as actors, sometimes we come from something where we're hungry to be part of this industry because of a deprivation, because we have something to prove. The beautiful thing I could say for my wife and I is that we have given both our sons such unconditional love that I am proud to say that I don't feel that they want to go into entertainment, because and I find that as a compliment to me personally, because I feel sometimes when you want to express yourself so deeply and so passionately, it's because maybe you came from a troubled background. And for me, I'm just so happy that they are both so well adjusted, so confident, and just full of love ever since birth, in terms of my wife and I giving them tender love and care every single day.
Interesting view, interesting. Yeah. There could be some kind of a background to it, right? But the creativity. If they have in the DNA that type of creativity, then you just never know.
I hope so. Yeah, just the inconsistency of salary. That's the one thing that always worries me. For me, I've been always able to just go into every single job I have to do in order to survive. But for them, I hope they get something more stable and also more profitable financially. Unless they're part of the top 1% there, that's a different story.
Yeah, it's a different type of business. So what about future projects? It was a little tough to look into the future a year ago. How is it now?
It's been amazing. I was actually reluctant to leave in June because I ended up booking 2 shows, one for Netflix called On My Block, one for Days of Our Lives, which is going to air October 20th. I just booked a new game show. It's called 25 Words or Less. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be up for winning $25,000. I filmed that with Meredith Vieira. That will be in October. And then in Florida, I will be going to star in a film called Deceived, and that should be early spring. That's what is scheduled. And then there's also a movie starring Jason Patrick called Bonded. They managed to squeeze in through the deepness of the pandemic, filming that. They just kind of had to go through some hula hoops, but I have a nice scene in that as well. So life is good. The auditions are starting now, double time, which is great. Just got a call from Marvel for something featured next week. So very excited about that. And just look forward to getting back on the red carpet and just hustling. I've been back for a week, already 3 auditions. So I'm sure there'll be some good news to come by October. Then.
Don't get dizzy.
It's, I mean, but it is, it's nice, like I said, especially, not knowing what the future brings, to just try to have my hand in as many things as possible, just to, like I said, to keep the creativity flowing, so we don't get into this rut of this pandemic energy, which sometimes can be very negative there.
Yeah, no, we stay away from it. I just did recently red carpet.
Yes.
For Harold and Carol Foundation.
Yes.
And, there's a lot of NFL players. And,
yes, LaDainian Tomlinson. I can't believe you've been such a legend.
Yes, I always, every year I support this foundation. So we always have a good time. And since they are football players, I had a touchdown question.
Yes.
And you're going to have one of my touchdown questions.
Okay.
Which is if you had 30 seconds or 60 seconds Super Bowl commercial, what it will be about?
Oh, wow. A Super Bowl commercial, what would it be about? Well, I mean, I got to stick with desserts. It's Super Bowl. People love eating. So for me, it would have to be, my favorite when I was a kid. I grew up in New York, and there was a restaurant called Friendly's Restaurant. And they had these big, huge bowls of ice cream sundaes that it was just heaven. But there was one that had the peanut butter sauce on the outside, and it had the Reese's Pieces and the chocolate ice cream. And when I was a kid, I was in absolute heaven. So for me, if I were to do any commercial, it would be Reese's Pieces ice cream sundae at Friendly's restaurant there.
That's great. So not New York pizza.
No. Well, New York pizza is amazing. I just had some great pizza. Although now I'm finally hitting the age where I gotta be careful. But I had some great New York pizza. But Reese's Pieces ice cream sundae, I think that would be the ideal there.
That will be the touchdown answer. Okay, awesome. Now, where can we see all your movies? Because the Megalodon, I can never pronounce it.
Yes.
I can never. Did I say it right? Megalodon.
Megalodon, sure, yeah.
Okay, finally then. Where can we see? Because you star also in Megalodon.
Megalodon, and also, well, more importantly, because Megalodon was sort of a B fun shark movie. But Anonymous Killers, I star. You can find them both on Amazon, as well as Ernie and Serby. I starred in another film that I did in Georgia about 5 years ago. But all my work, a lot of the guest stars, you can find on Amazon. By searching Dominic Pace. Mm-hmm. Anonymous Killers was a tremendous sociological thriller. It got tremendous reviews, and it's still going strong on Amazon right now. And I star as Romero Scarinelli on that, as well as The Midnight Man, starring Will Kemp, Doug Jones, William Forsythe, Max Adler, and Brent Spiner and myself. We did that a few years ago as well. So you can find it all on Amazon there.
Fantastic. And we can find you on Instagram.
Yes, Dominic Pace 1. On Twitter, it's Gekko the Hunter. And on Facebook, it's Dominic Pace. Ultimately, right now, this has been a 2-year campaign. I think it's been almost historic. I don't think there has ever been a Star Wars performer at my level to where they have been so passionate in terms of campaigning for their character, not to mention through the pandemic, not to mention, trying to lift others up through the same time with my own dream. So ultimately, it's just right now in the hands of Lucasfilm. And my only prayer is just hopefully they will respond in a positive way, because I would love to be a part of this franchise for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. Now, I have a question. There's a lot of people they look up to you.
Yeah.
And do you do any seminars or a lot of actors, they do the online seminars, classes. Yeah. They give people tips. Have you ever thought about doing something like that?
I would still like my career to come full circle. I still don't have the full ending of my career. I think, yes, absolutely. I think when maybe 5 years from now, when I hit 50, I think that would definitely be something that I would consider in regards to marketing, as far as the day-to-day in terms of finding work and also finding work outside of the industry. Absolutely. I'm just not at that point yet, because for me, I still have this script to write for my own career. And I feel that it's not finished yet as far as really having the icing on the cake as far as something major. I know that I've worked almost 100 different television shows in the course of my career, which I think is admirable in and of itself. And I've definitely done a few seminars separately to classrooms. And also I did one up in North Dakota a couple of years ago. But right now I'm still in the phase of being a performer. But absolutely, about 5 years down the line, it's something I would definitely consider.
I was thinking about Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Because this is where all the characters and specifically Star Wars, San Diego, they go there every year. So is there something where people can find you maybe on the next Comic-Con?
We are going to go to New Orleans, October 22nd to the 24th. But Marina, this is a very specific situation to where we were fortunate enough to get this attention during this window, but it wasn't necessarily of who Gekko was. It was what I was hoping Gekko could become. So just like a recording artist, just like a DJ, I need to have new material in order for the Comic-Con circuit to continue for me. Otherwise, I feel that the smartest idea for any artist, any performer, is to understand where you need to jump onto the next project. So we are very hopeful. I don't think I could have given a better campaign and a better message to Lucasfilm in terms of how passionate I am to want to portray this character for many, many years. But in order to continue on with those Comic-Cons, I don't want to be one of those actors to where you're promoting something that you did 5 years ago or 4 years ago or what have you, to where it's not current. So I am very hopeful because I love this community. I love the sci-fi community, the Comic-Con community, but it's got to be something to where they create an action figure of him. The story goes on through animation, through video games, through live action. We are very hopeful, but it's got to come from Lucasfilm.
I see. Yeah, that will make sense. Yeah. So if you can just tell me 2 more questions and I'll let you go. Who were you inspired by in this career?
Oh, boy. Well, look, it's an age of strong women. And I think it's so beautiful for women to have so many role models in this day and age. But for us men, we have strong men that we look up to. And for me, there was nothing better than growing up in the 1980s and being so inspired by the alpha of Harrison Ford. For me, it was just...
yes.
I mean, the man literally took such control of the camera and such control as a man in the most beautiful way. And we all got to experience that through Han Solo, Indiana Jones, also all the Tom Clancy novels, as well as Jack Ryan. The man has had a legendary career. He's still going. Him and Clint Eastwood, for me, I always say if it's 70, 80 years old and you have that money in the bank, I'm sorry, I'm going to see you in Ibiza. I'm going to see you in Greece. Santorini. We're going to go from some nice wine and some cigars, and we're going to celebrate a beautiful life. But the work ethic of these gentlemen is just absolutely insane because they're still going 16-hour days, which is just absolutely amazing.
They love what they do.
They love what they do.
The last movie with Clint Eastwood, mind-blowing.
Yeah,
I mean, I cannot imagine him doing this 10 or 20 years ago. It would not be the perfect character for the movie.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward. He's got one releasing next week. Next month there. I forget, there's a Mexican theme to it, but I'm very excited to see that. Yeah.
Now, Harrison Ford, did you get a chance to meet him?
I did briefly. And the one thing, with celebrities, it's a catch-22 because, they're bothered all the time. And for me, understanding the industry, I just wanted to be respectful. And I just said, I just want to shake your hand. That's all I said. And it was just a very simple nod. And that to me meant the world. But for me, it's like they are bothered every single second by new people every day. So just respectfully to all the A-listers, I always like to keep that space, because you can't imagine, I'm sure, how much they're bothered. And you know, if it's something relevant, then I understand. But for me, I just wanted to get that brief handshake, and I did.
But you know what? They're very kind. Like I was on the red carpet with Steven Spielberg and Indiana Jones.
Wow! Yeah.
Harrison Ford, and they're very kind. They absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I think it's a different story sometimes when it's at a nightclub versus when they are doing press and they are running the carpet, Marina. Because sometimes, again, if it's just in their personal life, it's like you want to keep that respect. But yes, obviously, I'm sure
maybe one day we will find out. Maybe I get a chance to interview them.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll see. Now, so shoot me one of your favorite movies.
Oh, boy. You know, I'm an old romantic, Marina, so I actually enjoy, well, there's several, but I actually enjoy The English Patient with the legendary Kristen Scott Thomas and Ralph Fiennes. I think Hollywood needs to go back to that beautiful romance. They've lost it completely with all this strong independent narrative, which I totally understand. You know, women are independent and men are now independent. But for me, there's nothing more beautiful to me than the beautiful old romantic pieces of cinema where a woman needs a man and a man needs a woman. So for me, I love the English Patient.
They will be nice, you know, like Dirty Dancing and A Pretty Woman. All those movies back in the days were beautiful. Well, thank you so much for your time. I won't keep you any longer. It's late.
Thank you so much, Marina.
And good luck with everything. Thank
you. Absolutely. You too. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.